gentlemen, I decided to purchase a pair of Yeezy 350 V2s in 2025 to see if this pair of hyped up shoes for more than 10 years ago are still worth it to this day. I know I'm over 10 years late to the Yeezy hype train, but it's finally my time to purchase a pair and wear them for a full week to tell you, gentlemen, if these are still worth it nowadays in 2025 and onwards. So let's not waste any more time and let's get into my very first shoe review about the Adidas Yeezy 350 V2s. First off, let's look at the box. You can see the 350 at the top of the box, the boost because of the Ultra Boost technology in the midsole, and the information about the shoes I purchased. This is the Yeezy 350 V2 pair made by Adidas, and the color that I chose to purchase is this simple, clean white bone color, which I think looks stunning, especially when they're brand new. Looking past the box and focusing on the shoe itself, you get to see the iconic shape of the Yeezy 350 V2s, which have a fabric combination of textile and mesh to give the shoe a unique look and a weightless, light and soft look to the upper of the shoe. There's also the iconic Yeezy and Adidas logos on the insole and a pull tab on the back of the shoe to make slipping in and out of the shoe easier. The thick shoelaces also add another little detail of small but definitely noticeable luxury in my opinion. Looking at the bottom of the shoe, we'll take a look at the sole, which is this thick and almost off-white looking gum sole with the iconic Adidas Ultra Boost technology, which I'll talk a little bit about later, with a cool pattern on the bottom of the sole. Lastly, there's also a cool detail on the top section of the shoe, which is the stitching on the middle of it, which not only adds another cool detail to the upper, but also showcases a unique way of the shoe's construction. Before I give you the final verdict if these Yeezys are actually worth it, I need to mention three very important criteria of these shoes: the price, the comfort, and the versatility. Let's start with the price. The price that I paid for these Yeezy 350 V2s is $196 retail. I bought them in a retail store and I was shocked to see them at this cheap price. And I say cheap because I remember whenever Yeezys were the hype of everywhere and everything in terms of fashion and style, these were much more expensive than that. As far as I remember, they resold for hundreds if not thousands of dollars based on the condition. And I'm very surprised that still to this day, so many years later, they are still somewhat in the affordable category, even though some people might call them luxury shoes. But this is very surprising to me that Yeezys are such affordable shoes based on being so hyped many years ago, and some people call them luxury items. So for that criteria, I think it's really good. The second criteria that I think is very important to talk about is the comfort. Before I even bought these shoes and stepped into them to try out the different sizes, I was sold on a pair instantly. Whenever I stepped my feet into these and wandered around the store to get a feel of how the shoes feel on feet, I was sold instantly because the comfort is almost unmatched to anything I have ever tried. The Ultra Boost technology that I said previously I would go back to is so comfortable and so supportive. You can see on the bottom how much this Ultra Boost foam gives back, and you really feel that whenever you are wearing the shoes, the support, bounce back, and overall comfort that the Ultra Boost technology here gives you is unmatched in my experience. It almost feels like you're walking on top of clouds. They are that comfortable, and the Ultra Boost technology here is that supportive and good. So whenever you're walking in these shoes, it feels so effortless to walk in them. I know it sounds weird because walking is generally a very easy thing for the majority of us, but it feels even easier because your steps feel so light, so easy, and so soft because of the very supportive Ultra Boost technology here. It is so insanely comfortable. But speaking of comfort, even though they are very comfortable, in my experience they started to feel slightly less comfortable, especially in days where I wore them for 6, 7, 8 hours plus, for example, in a full work day. And the reason for that, I think in my experience, is because because the shoe is somewhat narrow and my feet are somewhat wide, so my inner and outer toes were starting to hurt after the 7-8 hour mark, especially if I was going to stand up the majority of the day and walk for the majority of the day because of the fatigue that it caused. I'm not entirely sure why, because the upper is very soft and bouncy, as you can see here. It is slightly weird. I've never heard any one of my friends who previously owned Yeezys talk about this issue before, but I simply think it is because I have somewhat wide feet and these shoes are somewhat narrow, especially in the toe box here. Even though they are soft, even though that's the case, I cannot stress enough how comfortable these actually are to wear, especially if you're just going for a walk, a short work day, if you're going to run some errands, or if you are going to train in these. But if you are going to wear them for longer periods of time, be aware that they can maybe hurt your feet if you have somewhat wide feet after the 7 to 8 hour mark, in my experience. The third and last criteria that I want to talk about before giving you my verdict if Yeezys are worth it in 2025 or not is the versatility. Whenever you look at a Yeezy 350 V2, you don't think of it as an ordinary white sneaker, because this is not just any other white sneaker. This is, in my opinion, much more of a casual shoe, not only because of the Ultra Boost technology, which is typically sports and performance based technology in terms of footwear, but also when you look at the shoe and its design. This is what you would call many years ago a hype beast item. These are not any regular white sneaker as your typical white leather sneaker like Axel Arigato's Clean 90s or a Common Project white sneaker, and that is simply because you cannot dress these up or down as you could with a simple basic white leather sneaker. With that type of sneaker, you can dress them up with a suit, or you can dress them down to a pair of chinos, a sports jacket and a button up, but these will look very much out of place in these scenarios and outfits. So I would highly recommend, in my opinion, to stick to a more casual, bordering business casual, and most likely a street style casual outfit, because these will 100% look out of whack and overall out of place with a more dapper, more professional outfit. You could never pull these off with a suit and look presentable, because these are much more of a casual type of sneaker than a sneaker that is designed to be upscaled to a more professional setting. So the versatility of these could be a challenge, especially for people who typically go for more professional outfits and looks. So be aware of the limitations that could come with your outfit whenever you are going to invest into a pair of Yeezys. Finally, the big question: are Yeezys worth it in 2025? And it might sound very annoying, but it's both a yes and a no. The yes comes from these being so comfortable, especially in shorter periods of time in my experience. But if you do have narrow feet, just like the narrow shoebox, these will be ultra comfortable, not only because of the Ultra Boost technology, which gives you so much support and comfort, but also because of the upper, which is so soft, so breathable, and overall a pleasure to wear. Not only that, the price point is right on the money, no pun intended. These are so comfortable and so well priced for the comfort and style that you're going to pay for these, because I really love the iconic Yeezy look, and for $196 I really cannot complain, especially if you're also going to pay around that price tag for these. If you are overall looking for a very comfortable and stylish pair of shoes, even in 2025, in my opinion, these are a pair I can highly recommend. But if you are a person who is only going to have one pair of white sneakers, you cannot make these work if you both have a very casual type of style, but you need the same shoes in a very dapper and professional environment. These will not work in very professional environments and scenarios, because they simply are way too casual and way too sporty for these types of looks. Also, if you have very wide feet, I cannot recommend these, because they will be uncomfortable after just a couple of hours, especially if you have slightly more wider feet than I do. As I said previously, after 7 to 8 hours, in my experience, they started to be somewhat uncomfortable. And if you have even wider feet than I do, then I can't really imagine the pain that these could cause you after just 4 to 5 hours of wearing, especially if you are going to stand up or walk a lot. And also, if you're looking for the latest, trendiest possible type of footwear, these are not that, even though I still consider them very stylish and very up to date. For the majority of people, both casual wearers but also people in style and fashion, I don't think these are very much up to date, not as cool anymore. So these maybe are going out of style for the majority of people, but that's why I have both given you a yes and a no. Depending on the outlook that you have on the Yeezy and what you are looking for them to give you and provide you, then the answer is going to either be a yes and a no. But for me, my style and my usage of these, I will give you a yes. These are still worth it because the price is very good, the comfort is amazing, and the versatility, if you are going to keep it slightly more casual, these are very, very hard to beat. And also the different colorways, there are both in this bone color, but also you can get them in black. So if you are going to rock the Yeezys, you have a lot of good options, you have a lot of comfort that these provide you, and you have a lot of different styles and outfits you can wear these with. But do be careful, these are not as versatile as you might think. Either if you are going out with some friends or you need to go to a business meeting, these cannot work in both of these environments. I can't stress that enough. But if you are looking for a comfortable, versatile shoe that still looks good to this date, in my opinion, Yeezys are hard to beat. Gentlemen, what do you think? Do you think the Yeezy 350 V2s are still worth it in 2025? Do you not think they're worth it still? Have you gotten over the Yeezy craze? Do you like the shoe model in general? Do you dislike them? What do you think of these shoes, and what do you think of my very first shoe review? Would you see more of these? Do you have a specific shoe that you want me to review? Comment down below what you think of all of these questions I've given you. I would love to see what you have to say down there. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the Men's Improvement YouTube channel for more videos about fragrances, grooming, style, fashion, skincare, fitness, watches, everything that will make you, gentlemen, the best possible versions of yourselves. The last few things I want to ask you, gentlemen, is to smile more because it's free, and I want you to watch these two videos right here. This one here is going to be my latest upload rest. This one up here is going to be really the YouTube algorithm thinks you will enjoy.